Sergeant Brian Steele of the Columbus Division of Police was invited to speak at the September 11th Remembrance Ceremony held at Veterans Memorial in downtown Columbus on September the 11th, 2021. At the time of the attacks in New York, Sergeant Steele was a resident of New Jersey and a Marine Corps veteran. From his place of employment, he was able to look to the sky and see the aftermath of what occurred earlier that day. Here is his speech.
Thank you for having me on this most solemn of days. I want to talk about shock waves, ripples of energy. There was literal shock waves on this day 20 years ago. Planes hitting towers, a crater in a farmer's field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, the collapsed side of a building. There was also mental shock waves. As the towers collapsed, even the news anchors couldn't process with their eyes what they were witnessing, and they struggled to describe such an implausible scene. We must grapple with the notion that somebody would jump on their own high atop a tower, either in an inexplicable calculation that it was the best chance of survival, or simply determined to go out on their own terms. We groaned collectively as a country with questions. Are there more attacks? Who is responsible? And simply why? And then came the emotional shock waves. Children hand-making missing signs, hanging them up on poles, hoping beyond hope that their loved one would come home. There was candlelit shrines at firehouses and police precincts for firefighters and police officers who ran into buildings when people were running out. Witnessing the parades through the lines of first responders as bodies were recovered, moved from the rubble at Ground Zero. Now on this 20th anniversary, there are college-age adults without firsthand experience living through that time. It is our responsibility to share that memory, to make it live on. And make no mistake, shock waves can travel down through history too. The first responders unfurling the flag at the Pentagon, members from all parties of Congress singing God Bless America on the evening of September 11th, President Bush's bullhorn speech. These examples of national unity resonate even today, but also decisions made, rippling forward. That's my story on September 11th. I was a 22-year-old New Jersey kid, just ended my enlistment in the Marine Corps and attending community college in a GI Bill. I was working 2 jobs on a morning September 11th. I was helping my construction crew build a deck. When we heard the breaking news on the radio, the homeowner invited us in to watch the events unfold on TV. A few moments later, we drove up a hill in the neighborhood and we could see the smoke from the Twin Towers. We could hear and see fighter jets overhead. It was a war zone immediately. I heard on the news that all personnel should return to their bases, and I quickly contacted my command. By the time I learned of the attacks in Washington, Pennsylvania, I was on my way to Picatinny Arsenal, which was the nearest reserve center, as ordered. Because my enlistment was coming to an end and I was in school, they sent me home pretty quick. Being in New Jersey, in northern New Jersey in those days, was surreal. The train station lots were littered with unclaimed cars that became shrines to the fallen. I attended a funeral for a family friend, Seth Morris, who worked at Cantor Fitzgerald. Him and his company was completely wiped out. I knew I had to act. My plans of joining the family business were put on hold. My military service translated into work as a first responder. By early 2012, I began what is now a 20-year career as a police officer. What I did is not unique. People joined the military, people joined the fire, people joined the police services. Across the country, there was an outpouring service done in positive response to death and destruction. That's the ripple effect of September 11th. Out of the shock waves of these horrible attacks, a generation of first responders were formed. People dedicated to public service. People who answer the call of duty. People who are still running towards danger, just as our brothers and sisters of NYPD, FDNY, Port Authority, and many others did and continue to do to this day. I read once the best way to honor those lost on September 11th is to live each day like it's September 12th. If that means living a life of service, amen. Let those ripples continue down history. Never forget. If you're old enough to remember, share the memory. If you're too young to remember, ask. Carry the histories and lessons of September 11th forward. And everyone, be proud of those in uniform because we serve in the shadows of the first responders on September 11th.